Alright guys, this is it. Season 8 is on the doorstep, ready to barge in and destroy my life for the next 2 months. With a longer than usual hiatus between seasons, many have probably forgotten some of the key events of Season 7. I'm here today to get you up to speed by outlining the current status of all the key characters, where they are, where they're headed, and what they're going to do once they arrive. Without further ado, let's jump right into it. We last left Jon and Daenerys on their way back from the parley in King's Landing. They confirmed their burgeoning love for each other with a sex scene oddly set to a Bran monologue revealing that Jon isn't just Daenerys' cousin. His father, Rhaegar Targaryen, had annulled his first marriage to Elia Martell, who if you remember was Oberyn's sister, so he could marry Lyanna Stark, Jon's mother. This makes Jon the true heir to the Iron Throne above all else in the series. Whether he'll want to accept this role, or if there will even be an Iron Throne once all is said and done, are entirely different questions. In the same return party as Jon and Daenerys are Tyrion, Varys, Missandei, Grey Worm, Jorah, Davos, Brienne, and possibly Pod. Focusing in on Tyrion, if you remember, at the parley in King's Landing, in a scene we only got to see part of, he struck some sort of deal with Cersei to guarantee her quote-unquote partnership in the battle against the White Walkers. We later see him looking sad as he overhears Jon and Dany's intercourse. What could this mean? Does he have a secret thing for Dany? Did he betray her for Cersei? Is he just concerned that this will complicate things politically? We'll just have to wait and see. Now back to Cersei, the woman of the hour. She's sitting comfortably in King's Landing with Qyburn and the reanimated mountain. If you remember, she lied to Jon and Dany when agreeing to a temporary ceasefire to deal with the White Walkers. In actuality, she plans to let Dany and Jon tire themselves out and stab them in the back. Jaime, seeing this as the final straw in their relationship, fled King's Landing for the north, seemingly to join up with Jon and Dany. Where Bronn is in all of this, we don't yet know. He went off to drink with Pod before the parley, and we haven't seen either since. Whether this is out of contractual obligations or actual plot movement, we have no idea. Oh shit, I almost forgot. Cersei said to both Jaime and Tyrion that she was pregnant last season. She could of course be lying, or this could end up a miscarriage. There's no way this baby can survive, because if you remember back to season 5 when they showed the Maggie the Frog prophecy, she would only have 3 children and all of them would die, and that was part of the prophecy. I didn't even mention the Valonqar prophecy. Oh man, this is that a Valonqar, or quote-unquote in Valyrian, the little brother, will be the one to kill Cersei. Now, popular consensus is that this is going to be Jaime, but you never really know. Cersei in the books thinks it's going to be Tyrion. That's probably a misinterpretation. And obviously, Valyrian we know is gender neutral, so it could even be a female character, so we'll just have to wait and see. Regardless, Cersei still has another confidant up her sleeve, Euron. Pretending to flee out of fear during the King's Landing parley, he actually set off to Essos to rally the Golden Company to Cersei's cause. For a refresher on the Golden Company and their potential role in Season 8, I encourage you to watch my Golden Company Explained video. Euron's nephew Theon, on the other hand, is making a beeline straight toward him. At the end of last season, Theon gathered a small crew to go rescue his sister Yara from Euron's clutches. Who knows when uncle and nephew will collide? Whoever ends up surviving the inevitable clash, however, will end up with the Golden Company in their pocket. If Theon were to win, this would be an incredible resource for Jon and Dany in their fight in the north. All in all, other than Cersei and company, it seems like the majority of our characters are converging on Winterfell to kick off the season. But who currently awaits them there? None other than the surviving Stark siblings, Sansa, Arya, and Bran. Jon only knows of Sansa's arrival and overall survival, so this reunion is bound to be emotional. If you remember back to the end of last season, using poorly written deception and Bran's three-eyed raven prowess, they were able to take down Littlefinger once and for all. This would have left Winterfell in purely Stark hands if Jon hadn't bent the knee to Daenerys. If history is any indicator, it seems like the Northern Lords won't be pleased with this decision, but with the White Walkers closing in, who's to say they'll have time to care? Samwell Tarly is also chilling out in Winterfell with baby Sam and Gilly. Remember, him and Bran are the only 2 living characters who know of Jon's true parentage and birthright, or so we think. This leads us to our outliers, Meera and Melisandre. The last we saw of Meera was when a sociopathic three-eyed raven Bran, having no further use for her, sent her home to the neck. I think this might be a misdirect, aided by his future sight abilities. You see, Meera's father is Howland Reed. Although we haven't yet been introduced to him in the modern context of the show, he did appear in the flashbacks to the Tower of Joy incident that Bran saw in Season 6. You see, Howland was one of Ned's companions who accompanied him to the tower. In turn, he would have been there to see Ned emerge from the tower with baby Jon. Howland is also commonly associated with the higher mysteries of the series, such as the White Walkers and the Children of the Forest. Moving along to Melisandre, we last saw her fleeing the Westerosi continent from Dragonstone, but not without the intention to return. She's heading to Volantis, a major port city in Essos. Although this city plays a larger role in the books, you may remember it as being home to the bar where Tyrion was kidnapped by Jorah back in Season 5. It also, however, is the home to the largest temple of the Faith of R'hllor, Melisandre's religion. Her intentions seem to be to rally the Greater Red Priesthood to help with the incoming White Walker threat. Speaking of this impending threat, we last left the White Walkers crossing through a destroyed portion of the wall into Westeros proper. If you recall, the Night King was able to turn Viserion, formerly one of Dany's dragons, into a White Walker itself. Please note, the Night King did not turn Viserion into a white, one of the mindless zombies. He specifically used the process to turn him into a White Walker, one of the higher echelon members of his forces. He then used it to destroy the eastern edge of the wall, known as Eastwatch by the Sea. This allowed his forces to continue their march south. Although there are a few small villages and towns along the way, the next major stop in their path is none other than Winterfell, where the majority of our characters are currently converging. And there you have it, everything you need to remember leading up to Season 8. If you have any outstanding questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below or tweet them to me over at Prof of Thrones. If you like this video and would like to get on board for my Season 8 coverage, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell. Thanks again for watching, and remember, the Professor of Thrones is here to teach you.